are you going through this COVID-19, Andy?
I think that with the way that I'd positioned or what I've been doing in regards to the work-life balance anyway, I've been primarily working from home, but then changing my different bits. So I've just had to sort of adjust a little bit in regards to my face-to-face meetings with people. And that's from
Yeah,
a work perspective. Like I lost everything in terms of the DJ because that's the entertainment industry. There's so many people in entertainment and hospitality because we can't, be in big crowds or be parties or celebrate or anything like that.
yeah. But
That's
I
gone.
jump in. I have loved your DJ sessions on Facebook. Oh,
Yeah, thank you.
made me so happy. And because I'm a musician,
Mm,
it's just really, I don't know, really made me want to get back into my music. You and
yeah, well,
Justin Ange, that was in the book also. He's
yes,
been singing live karaoke because he's meant to be on a cruise at the moment.
yeah.
So between you two guys, you've like really inspired me with my music again. So much so that I
Yeah.
asked my hubby if I can get a new speaker for my keyboard.
Oh wow, that's really cool. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, no, like I've been watching Justin's stuff as well, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And like I think that music as well. Like we did that project there for the champion project for Luke, and I'm so glad that you've asked hubby for the speaker for your keys because that's something there that I noticed. I'm like, wow, that's the spark. That's another little spark that I hadn't seen there. Um, with you and it was really cool to be able to get that music and do that project. So I'd like to be able to see what more from the Kerrie files,
Oh, yeah. And do you know what I saw yesterday? And I thought, oh, I could do this with the right musician mates, is Jimmy Barnes. So I
Mm.
shared it on Facebook. He was singing from his house and he had all his family members that usually go on tour with him from their homes, and they did a Zoom
Yeah.
and they sang When the World Is Over. And I was thinking we could actually have a Zoom music practice, a
Yes.
Zoom jam session.
Yeah, I think so. No, that's pretty cool. I've seen that. Like I actually saw that and shared it because
Play
I'm
the
like, oh,
guitar, don't you? A bit of guitar.
yeah, I do play the guitar. Before DJing, it was the guitar. So unfortunately, look, I always know how to play it, and sometimes do go back to going to play it. I was actually thinking of doing a little live song after watching all that stuff there from your post and seeing Justin do his thing. But this I
Yeah.
don't really have much of a voice, but I can, I'll give it a go anyway, and pull the guitar out and have a
Well,
jam with you.
we should after we get off here, we should kind of get maybe 4 songs that we both like and practice them, and then maybe in a week or two get together and have the Zoom jam session.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I'm happy to play. I'm happy to play the songs that you like. So I've got quite a big taste in the music there as well. So I'll be happy to play something that you feel comfortable with and puts a smile
Okay,
on your
that'd be
dial.
yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be
and then
awesome.
and then that way you get to make the choice, and then I'll come and jam along with you. And we can invite some other people from the book, maybe with Justin and
Oh,
Darren. So Darren
yeah,
plays
yeah.
as well.
Metallica.
Yeah, we can have the Metallica heavy metal version.
It's the only
Hi,
thing I
Darren.
can't get into do is Metallica, like heavy metal. But I mean, look, Darren and I did have a heavy metal jam session with a couple of songs, so anything's possible when you're a musician.
That's right. Yeah, it's just you just have to hit the keys harder.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Oh,
no.
dear.
So in regards to the COVID-19, I look, that's just from a work perspective, but what it's also allowed me to do, and I think Claire's working from home as well at the moment, so we got to be. It's about being grateful for those things. She's working from home, but she's still doing
Yeah,
the stuff there. But we get to still have a chat during the day and do this. Getting to be able to spend some more time, like with this whole next term with the schools things for the next 5 weeks. That I'm looking at that from a positive point of view is when we go on our invisible injuries tour, um,
oh
we're going
yeah,
to have to homeschool. So this is
yeah,
5 weeks
that's so
of
true.
homeschooling, right? And
Yeah,
and and, and this whole COVID-19 thing, right, is that everything's going to be online. They're going to be doing TV shows. They're going to do this. So that's going to be a positive for when we go on tour and we want to homeschool our kids. I'll go, well, those resources are there that are being made now. So they're the little things that, you know what I mean? They're things. I'll always be great. I'll never take for granted again being able to go and see friends and hanging out with friends and family. You know,
I know.
a meal out, bowling and pizza that we haven't had a chance to be able to do yet. That's
I know.
that
We
playing back.
We got that in with Darren and Bianca, and I'm a really bad bowler. But I like to just hang out. So even if I'm going to lose, which I usually know that I will, like my trivia night with Matt Collins the other night, the social interaction, it's all worth it, Andy.
Yes,
so I can't wait to actually hang out with Claire too, after meeting her at the book launch.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, no, but the book launch was. I just wanted to be able to thank you so much. That was an amazing night. It was such a good experience, and to be amongst all those people there, it's awesome, you know. And I've got the books that I got. I've gifted them to friends and family that have gone, oh, geez, you know, that's something else about you that I didn't know, but like that kind of gives me a more in depth, you know. And then all the other people's stories in there, it gives the whole gamut, you know. But I think you know, unlike who's the CEO of Lifeline that did the
Robert Sams.
So Robert Sams, you know, like he could read it back from front to finish, but I think some of the stories are like people have to take them into little chunks and go along. But it's you know, everyone that I've sent the book to so far, it's been received so well. In regards to that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I've absolutely loved having you like on the Stories of Hope journey. And I'm just so grateful to Darren Eastwell for suggesting that I contact you, because we've just kind of really hit it off, haven't we? Because we're both really passionate about helping people with PTSD and different things, and both being musos and being able to ghostwrite your story was like the greatest privilege. And I've never ghostwrote a story before. So that was a first for me, and it was just like such an amazing experience. So thank you so much for trusting me with that.
Yeah, it was a good precedent to do that one there. So I'm like, oh yeah, so now it leads it up. Like after I read your first part of the story in Stories of Hope 1, and then you wrote the foreword in part 2, that sort of adds to it. So I think, you know, now that that Invisible Injuries is finally a registered charity, is that
as of yesterday?
As of this week. As of like it was so it was so pretty much yesterday's Wednesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday. So Tuesday we got the registration through. The next day we got a call from the ATO, and I was like, oh, ATO. But then he said, no, this is for your registration. And I'm like, wow, okay. Well, I was expecting that process to take a lot longer. And I'm like, wow, that's a big milestone to really celebrate with not only myself but the family and the team that's been helping me in the background. You know, I can't do it all myself, and you know, and the support from all the family and friends that I've spoken to, including you. You know, but that was a whole catalyst. So that was a big milestone to go with. And now with that second part of the book, it's like, you know, everyone can write their part of the story and it'd be taking ages, but you got a certain sliver in the book, and so now from there I can carry it on with the future ones. And you know,
that's so great. I remember when you were talking to me about your ideas about just you know, bringing together invisible injuries, and you were so passionate about it, and how about going around Australia and our talks, you know, when you were planning to even just start it when it was in the birthing stages, and to sit here now and talk to you and know that has actually come to fruition this week. Do you know, that really encourages me so much.
Yeah.
When I see great things happen for other people, it really encourages me, you know, to know that, yes, you know, keep going with what you're doing, because at times we can all get to that point. And I think especially through this time when I'm such a people person and interaction with others is what fuels me. When I don't have that, you know, you're alone with your thoughts. And often those old negative tapes can start playing, you know, and thinking, do I even have anything to offer? Is what I'm doing even on the right track anymore? But then when I hear something like what happened with you and your dream coming to fruition, it's like a silent thing that champions me from behind and goes, keep going, keep running, keep, you know, keep going for the dream. And so it's really, I'm really happy for you.
Oh, thank you. No, and that was a big one, you know, because I remember when the first time you invited me to speak at Stories of Hope, and then I had it was like, it was this like little bit of chicken scratch on this paper like this.
Yeah.
And I was reading from it, and I made this pun that this will turn into a book, because, you know, I think it was it wasn't Donna's story. It was sorry, I forgot her name. She was the high profile banker. What was her name?
Jodie Nolan.
Joe, and she had the book, and I'm like, oh, I'd like to have a book, and so I made this joke about this will be my book, and then 1 year later, here we are in a book.
I know, and maybe if you ever want to do a whole book, I might be able to be your ghostwriter.
yeah, and that was the whole thing, you know. And then so it was like, okay, we're going to do this, and it does take time, and it doesn't. I think that nothing good and great comes without putting in the effort and being frustrated and thinking, oh geez, you know, am I a pretender, or am I trying to do this? What am I thinking when you get these thoughts? You know, especially at times like
that's called the imposter syndrome.
Yeah, and then I'm like, well, no, actually, if I break it down, like with all this stuff that's been going on, it's allowed me to break down some of the other processes for our other programs that we'll be bringing out. I'm like, okay, well, what are the achievements that I've actually done? You know, like when I was in the army and I did this. And when you break it down, you go, actually, there's all this cool stuff. It's just sometimes when you go, well, here in the present, I just don't feel that has summated to everything, you know what I mean? And it's like what we were talking before with the other personal stuff, those other dealings and that closure of that chapter. It's like when I feel down in that way, I have to really draw on those things and the people around me to be able to go, let's be that better person, because I know that you know, that's what's going to get me through.
That's today. That's something I did a podcast with someone the other day, and they were talking about, how are you getting through, how do we get through hard times? And a huge thing for me has been drawing on the great victories of the past. So really have to often spend time just thinking about, okay, well, what great things have happened in the past, and just keeping on remembering those things, because if great things have happened in the past, and they have, even greater things are going to happen in the future. And so it's hanging on to those wonderful things, you know, those testimonies of the victories in the past.
Yeah.
And when you were just saying then about thinking, have I really got the goods, or, you know, do I really have the experience for that? Or it reminded me of a job interview that I had probably about 3 years ago. And I had been out of working in the school, because I'd worked in the school with, you know, supporting the community and troubled kids in the school and everything for 6 years. And I had this job interview at this place called the Banyans. Now, the Banyans is like a 5-star rehab to the stars type thing.
Oh, right.
And people pay thousands and thousands of dollars to go to this. And they had, like, you know, celebrities and football players and just people that were high profile, that had all the money, that, you know, didn't need to go to just a government facility to withdraw from drugs and alcohol, and also probably to have a rest, you know, for mental health issues and that. And so I got the interview, and I was thinking, oh, have I got what it takes to do this job, you know? And so had to rewrite my resume. And as I was sitting down reflecting on the past, well, I'll call them the past victories, but things that I had actually done over the years, when I wrote it all down on paper, I was like, wow, I actually am qualified to do this job. And I do have the experience because it was right there in front of me. And I did get the job, but they wanted me to, I had to travel for 2 or 3 days a week. Now, the Bruce Highway, you know, often can be cut off for half a day at a time if there's a car accident.
Yeah.
And because they were starting out, the rate of pay wasn't that great. And while the experience would have been fantastic, I just would have been ending up working for nearly next to nothing. And it was not
Bruce,
long after I started Stories of Hope. So
that was probably the good thing about it, though. But reflecting on those things there, I think that, you know, that was the hopeful thing. But Bruce can be a real pain for everyone. He's a painful friend, I think, sometimes. He's one of those painful friends we were talking about. Bruce Highway.
Bruce Highway. And have you seen the pictures of it through COVID? Like it's like a ghost highway.
Yeah. Wow. Yes. Well, everyone chose not to go down. Chose Bruce at the moment. They're a little bit off him, you know. Or that's because they can't go anywhere.
So what things are you putting in place at the moment to help you through this time?
Oh yeah, so we've got it's just about trying to do the routines. So first of all is accepting that the way that things were, being busy and then trying to always be busy, it's like you kind of put the handbrake on, because I've worked. I've had my other businesses which are home based anyway, and then go out to satellite bits for a while. But it's like, well, if the kids are going to be around and all this other stuff, then I've got to also know that they also have to have attention. And so I've accepted now that the productivity from that perspective is now changed to this new one. And you can still be as productive in a different way, but then go, well, look, the checks that I've got in place is go, let's do blocks of time. So then, okay, let's go as a family, because if you've got to distance yourself, we'll go, well, let's go for our little morning walk just around the block. It takes 5-6 minutes to walk around the block, and let's walk around as the family now. So that's a really nice time to be able to do that. And go, you know, and then if there's a time there where, okay, well, like, you know, you can get stuck on the computer or doing all these other things, then I go, well, look, if I finish this, I'm not going to hop straight on and do another thing. I'm going to go and spend some time now and do something there with the kids, or do something around, just to try and sort of block it. So I think it's just trying to put the different processes in place now that actually suit what's going on. And it's allowed us to be able to say, well, look, you know, with all this that's happening, trying not to have that fear there that the world's going to be, you know, crushing around. So, you know, I'm not going to be feeling like this, right? So I'm not going to be feeling that. I'm going to be feeling that.
I mean, right, it was a nice picture, but I like that picture better.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because it's not going to be so out of sort of space. So I think that they're the things that we're putting in place now. And
looking at what's real.
Looking at what's
real. Not catastrophizing, not looking ahead, not looking at the past, and accepting that this is the new normal. The past is gone. We're not going to probably know life as it used to be. It's going to be very different, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I think that if people aren't using this time now in a way and thinking about, well, if you cling on to that, okay, I want it to be as it was, but not go forward. Yeah. Well, I'm like, well, you know, all those little bits of time now, you know, I'm just seeing from the positive messages in the people, because I try and surround myself with those types of people, is that, you know, hey, I actually, there was one of my friends was going, hey, I'm actually noticing a lot more now. You know, I noticed my daughter that they live in acreage, and he was saying that I just noticed my daughter was talking to the neighbor about their dog, and you know, all these little things. You know, they had a bit of an exchange from the distance there, and usually they wouldn't get to know the neighbor, but they were sitting there, and he said that was really nice to be able to see that happen. you know, and
Yeah,
see if people
lovely.
think, okay, well, look, we've got to do this thing now. We're limited. We're limited to who we're going to be, who we can have in the big groups. So let's take the boat out fishing. So, you know, there's been these ones where, you know, the father son go fishing for the day and have the little, you know, all those little things that before it'd be, oh, I'm so busy that I'll do this, and the only time that I get spare is just maybe the half a day on the Saturday and one day on the weekend after all the sports, and then we've got to try and fit it all in and be busy, you know. That they're the little things that I think now that with these with the new norm, you can just go to just put the back brake on and sort of adjust.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Try not to. I mean, look, it's really frustrating seeing people. I mean, there are mixed messages and all this, but you know, it's sort of, I just try and keep it simple. You know, if I need to go somewhere or do something, like, well, yeah, it's 6 months in a lifetime isn't really that much if you think about it. You know, or even 3 months.
No, that's right. It's like a reset, isn't it?
Yeah.
I kind of, yeah, I've kind of seen it as a bit of a gift. And my son works in the NRL, in corporate sponsorship in Sydney for the Tigers. And so he's basically been working from home and is on leave without pay. But now that the government's brought, you know, the $750 in, fortunately he's got, you know, his job part-time. But we've spent heaps of time talking every day, probably more than we used to. And I don't know when I can see him again. And we're very close, and that's something that's made me a bit sad. But I keep thinking to myself, well, at least they're safe and at least they're happy down there, him and his wife.
Yeah.
But I keep saying to him, this is probably a time that is never going to happen again. And him and his wife were living in Sydney in such a frantic pace, you know, both professionals, newly married, trying to keep up with their friends and their activities and everything. And he was just go all the time. And I'm like, you've been given the gift of time now to actually rest and stop. And so I just keep saying this to him, appreciate it, because once things start rolling again, you're going to look back and go, oh, I wish I had that time back. So just really enjoy the time is what I've been telling him. And I've got to tell myself that.
Yeah, no, that's
even though
it's just all about that, isn't it? Like,
a people person.
Yeah, I know that's probably one of the you know, I think humans in general, you know, you need to have that connection there. And I mean, you know, with all the technology at the moment, like we're doing now, it's great. But then there's that other energy presence of actually being around someone. You know, you feel that a lot more when you're around people who've got a good energy, because they radiate it. You know what I mean? You can radiate it too, you know, online, but it's not quite the same.
No, but I'm so glad we could do this Zoom. Something that I was thinking when you were talking was, I think now is it, and it's probably hard for a lot of people, because when we're dealing with our own emotions, it's very difficult then to try and take into consideration the fact of, well, how are other people feeling? And especially when other people are angry or abusive. And there's been quite a bit of that I've seen out there. People have become quite reactionary. And so something that I've been having to really put into practice is not taking that on board, seeing it for what it is. You know, no, they're not, it's not me that they're upset with. It's the situation that we're all in at the moment. And so I think it's a time when we all need to have more grace with each other.
Yeah. And yeah, 100%.
And not be quick to react, quick to stand back and go, okay, yes, you know, maybe they're going through more than me at the moment.
No,
we don't know anything about what someone else is going through, do we? So to stop and go, okay, I'm not going to react to that. I'm just going to give a bit of grace there.
100%. And you know, on that note, there on Good Friday, it was a last Thursday, I thought we'll go and get some seafood. Let's go to the Fishers and get some seafood. So I was at the seafood place doing the social distancing in the line, and there was one lady was just so paranoid and angry, like you were saying. She was going off at this other lady, and this other lady was just starting to blow up. And I said, "Excuse me, like she doesn't need to talk to you like that, but she shouldn't be talking to you like that." And then she looked at me. When she looked at me, there was like these eyes piercing. But then as soon as I said that, she's like, "Oh." I said, "Look, I'm sending positive vibes from my little distance here. You don't need that. You're here for a reason to buy some fish for your Easter, and I wish you all the best Easter." And she's like, "You know what? I've had 5 people today just trying to sort this stuff out for Easter, because things are a bit slower, that have just tried to attack me, right?" And I'm like, "Oh, geez, man. Obviously, like you were saying, people are reactionary to the situation." And I'm like, and then so I was just waiting. I ordered some chips to go with, I got my seafood and put that in the car, and I was just waiting for some chips for a snack for my son. And anyway, she come out of the shop after being served and said, "I'm going to have a great Easter now, thank you." And I'm like, that actually felt good to be able to do that, because it took them from this really, I'm ready to, just another person that's talking to me, I'm going to lash out. And then, you sort of see them going, reset back to normal. But yeah, and you never know.
We need Andy's going like everywhere, all over Australia. Hello, which is going to happen.
Oh yeah, we're going to put it out. Yeah.
Invisible injuries.
Yeah, that's right. All Aussie adventures, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we'll make it happen. It's just, with all that's happened this week with the charity and the status, we can really move forward with some of the other things, which is really exciting. And it'll take its time, but we'll make it happen.
That's really great. And Stories of Hope kind of it's been, a bit of a battle for me, because I had the book launch.
Yeah.
And then I had my men's night scheduled, and then a really great night on the 31st with actually, I don't know if you've heard of the former soldier Andy Cullen, who's written a book called Resurrected.
Mm.
And his wife, she actually developed PTSD from living with him with PTSD.
Yeah.
So interesting story there, of both of them in their marriage, how they both coped with that.
Yeah.
But now that we can't gather anymore at events, so Stories of Hope literally is just on hold. And I'm not technologically minded, so the thought of trying to do it all online and everything has just been a real, like a mountain for me. Mm. But I just have to think that it's a new opportunity to learn some new skills.
Well, maybe we could talk about that offline, to maybe be able to have some Stories of Hope thing that goes out instead of having a big Zoom, is to have like you and someone else like here now, and then we could project it live to whoever's going to be there, like the virtual Stories of Hope. I don't know, maybe that might happen. So I'm sure.
And what could actually happen as part of that too, I've got people in different states who have asked me if they can be involved in Stories of Hope, and can I come down to Brisbane? Can I go to Townsville? Can I go to Perth with Stories of Hope? And I haven't been able to do that, but now I can actually do that via social media and have speakers from those areas come and speak on Stories of Hope as well. So that's really exciting. I'm trying to look at all the positives.
Yeah, no, that's right. But like back to when you said that the book launch was on the 12th. And I remember it so vivid. It was on the 12th of March. Everything was going fine. And then it was like, okay, this coronavirus is there. And then that weekend, they pretty much said, all 5 events of 500 or more. And then it was the 14th, right? And that was like, it was on the Thursday night, which was the 12th. And then on the Saturday night, the 14th, all the events are gone. So that was the last... that was the last, big event.
Just scraped in, hey?
Just scraped in.
Have you got a copy of the book there, Andy?
I do have a copy of the book there. Well, let me go on.
Let's hold it up.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go and get it. So lucky
because both of our stories are in there, and
I do.
It will bring. I love that your screen's just following you.
Like the screen's following me. Yeah, that's right. And that's the beauty about the technology, you won't see the house there. I'm still in the box. I'm only joking. Here we go. Here, let's go back to the room. So we are in the room, back to sitting down.
Yay.
And I have, let me pull it out. Let me pull out some hope. I'm gonna do an Andy the magician. He taught me a trick. Here we go.
Awesome.
Look at my hands. Look at my hands. Look at my hands. Look at my hands. I'm gonna pull it out of this side here. Where is it? Hey, you like that trick, Andy?
Oh,
hey.
wow. That's awesome.
There we go.
That's great.
Yeah. So this is it, and this is the actual. This is my my signed version as well from everyone on the night.
But what I wanted to say is that, and I said this to you, that if there's people in your invisible injuries community that are really struggling and really feel like that book could help them, please let me know, because I'm happy to donate some copies of that. And I've been trying to donate copies of this book at this time for different people.
Oh, so yeah. Well, we could put a link on our social media, and thank you so much for that kind gesture there, Kerrie. Like it's an amazing read, and there's some really cool stories in here, and then one which was also ghostwritten by you. But then it's really cool. So
Andy's story.
Yeah, Andy's story there. So you know, very inspirational, hopeful book that shares the good vibes there about some amazing people overcoming different traumas, you know. So that's it, isn't it?
Great to catch up today. I just feel I just actually feel like remotivated now, because I've actually been sick since the book launch. And I haven't been able to really do much at all. I've had no energy, and my back went as well. So as well as trying to cope with the isolation and lack of social interaction, I've also been in a lot of physical pain and different stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's been hard, but it's really great. I think the biggest message that I would have for anyone at this time is don't not connect. So connection is so important. And even if you don't feel like getting on a Zoom call, but I did today, but even if you don't feel like it, make sure you keep connected, because when we don't keep connected, we get isolated. And when we're isolated, we're just alone with our own thoughts and our own negative mentality, and we need other positive people in our life to help regulate our emotions.
The voice there chatting in your ear going, ah.
Yeah, we need
very wise
positive
words
people.
there. Very wise words there, Kerrie.
Thank you, Andy.
No worries.
Anything else that you would like to add for your invisible injuries community out there?
Yeah, well, for anyone who's listening there from Invisible Injuries, you know, the veterans, the first responders, and the immediate support. You know, there's times there we've got to look after each other now in those times when they are dark. Exactly what you were saying. It's so important to be able to connect, and that's the thing there, is the reduction of the social isolation there. So we're not alone, and technology is making it a lot easier to be able to get out there. And and if you are wanting something there to be able to help pass the time as well, and you haven't been feeling well like yourself, is you could always pick up a copy of this, hit me up. I'll have the link there, and it'll be a great read for you to be able to move forward and see my story and the other people's stories as well, and find out more through the links there.
Thanks, Andy. And let's just give a huge shout out to all the first responders.
Oh,
the nurses, doctors, the police, like AMBOs, fireys, everybody that's a first responder out there. You know, on behalf of Invisible Injuries and Stories of Hope Australia, we just want to say how grateful we are to you for helping to look after the communities that we care about.
Absolutely. And you couldn't have said it any better. I ditto that there, Kerrie. Thank you so much to all the first responders out there. You've done an amazing job.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Andy.
Thanks for having me, Kerrie.
Yeah, no worries. See you later.
See ya. Bye.
See ya.